Buenos nachos amigos, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Record Breakers. I'm Petey Rave, your man with no plan. Here with me is my team of record reviewers. We've got none other than Patrick.
Oh, hi.
We've got Brett.
Mr. Statewide.
Yes. And we've got Drew.
Hello.
Yes. We're here to talk about music, and the provider of the music is me. It's me. We've got a really cool little Korean indie group by the name of The Solutions, and their most recent full album, Movements. It's a really cool album. The Solutions is a really cool group that I've been following for a little bit. Their previous album was an album that I played quite a few times. And this recent album was a very impressive album. In many ways. And they're a really cool group. They're very like Korean indie. They're very have a really cool style, and they've even been featured on like national television, like as background music and some variety shows and stuff. So like they have some like some gravitas, some notoriety, at least a little bit. So they're a really cool group, and I'm interested to see what you guys think of it. I'll start with Patrick. What expectations did you have coming into this album?
You said Korean indie rock, so I'm immediately brought to Love X Stereo, who are among my favorite things that has ever been brought to this show by someone other than me. And I didn't know, like, I didn't quite know what language it would be in. It happens to be English, but they are Korean. And style-wise, I had no idea what I was getting into, other than I figured it would be vaguely like indie music.
Mm-hmm. Brett, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
When you say Korean indie rock, I automatically go to my my thoughts of, is there really any independent music in Korea, or is this like a found band that is propped up? I was like, is it the indie the style, or indie the like independent?
There is an indie scene, yeah.
But yes, we have been over this before, that right. there is indie. But then I saw Haircuts, and then it was done. It was over. I was in. Set that hook, buddy.
Yeah. And Drew, what were your expectations coming into this album?
One, I would like to say this is the second week in a row one of y'all have stolen my thunder for a surprise in the next block, and you didn't let me get there. But
sorry, not sorry.
Right here, buddy. But it was Korean music from Petey. The Korean music from Petey, that's a Skype window. The Korean music from Petey has been all over the place. So I didn't really know what to expect. So I went into this semi-blind, like I usually do with Petey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or dry sometimes. Actually dry oftentimes. But yeah, this is definitely an interesting album, to say the least. Musically, yeah, it has a lot of really cool sounds musically, a lot of cool indie sounds, really indie pop, some cool like indie rock sounds in there. It has, I don't know, it kind of jumps into a couple of cool different places. It couple different paces as well, with the guitar appearing and disappearing, sometimes relying on keyboards and drums more than say guitar work. I don't know. I'm not the best at describing things musically, so I'll go to you guys. Patrick, what are the themes and elements that caught your attention about this album?
I think these guys are more pop than indie, but I see where the indie word gets used as a genre title. It's definitely, there's guitars, but it's super synthy. Like they just abuse synthesizers and drum machines, which is fine. It's kind of got a groovy dance feel to it at times. A lot of it sounds like the current sort of crop of like indie dance pop kind of thing, like that sort of vibe. But there's also like a little bit of a rock element to it.
Mm-hmm. Brett, what would be some of the themes and elements that caught your attention?
It's super upbeat. It's got dance beats. Like contemporaries in the West. Most music today that gets like large play in whatever medium that people play things on YouTube. Things have dance beats. This is a sort of a there's no exact genre that you can I could pinhole this band into. They sort of straddle line of genres, but they do it by not being muddied and watered down and not really a part of anything. They just have something that's not instantly identifiable. This is a band that you can assume English is not their native language. I say that because I'm a horrible person, and I'm sorry for it. Listen to the album. I'm sorry. I love every bit of, like, I was playing Rocket League for maybe 5 hours while listening to this album on a loop. I heard this album more in like one sitting than any other band that we've done for this show, just on a loop, because it's something that sounds almost like it is video game music kind of. It's something that you could play soccer with a car listening to.
Soccer.
But yeah, and go watch their YouTube videos. Look at those haircuts. They're beautiful, beautiful boys. Like, that doesn't hurt. But there's something to the sound that is very like the drum machine sound. I'll get into it when we get into songs, but there's ways that you can break this down. This is a very of the time, worldwide sound that people do for music.
Drew, what would be some of the theme songs that caught your attention?
Well, as I said, Swagger sort of stole my thunder, but the first thing that hit me was it was in English, which I was not expecting, which was a pleasant surprise right off of the bat. Actually had to recheck multiple times. I was actually listening. I listened to it a couple of times during the day, on Friday before the night we were going to record this, and I had to actually re-get with you and make sure. I was like, the album has like the pyramid on it, like this is the album, these are the tracks, and you were like, yeah, no, we're doing movements, my warp, like all that, like, yes, that's the album, so that I didn't pull what I've pulled before.
Explain that what so people that have not been listening all along from the beginning, it is tell us more.
If you go back to a early episode of Record Breakers, Petey brought a Korean band, and I picked the first album by said Korean band that I found on Google Music. And apparently that was not the album we were listening to.
We didn't find out until halfway through the episode.
Yeah, no, we didn't find out until the C block. Not just halfway through, almost all the way through.
Which is funny, which is almost to say that almost speaks to Jalrum's consistent sound, which is cool.
And your haiku did still work, so that's all that matters.
It did.
Exactly.
It's what the people come here for, the haikus. Yes. But no, besides that surprise for me, it was really a lot of fun. It was poppy. It wasn't like super overly complex. It wasn't like, I'm going to use air quotes for indie music is in America a lot, which is sort of trying to be better than itself, like sort of nose in the air sort of type of music. It wasn't. It was, I believe Brett made the mention that the last band we listened to with David wasn't exactly for the group of people that would like to tap their toes a lot to their music. This, on the other hand, was catchy as hell. There was hooks everywhere, and it was a lot of fun. I might have also listened to this while playing a little bit of soccer, and it was just a lot of fun. I listened to it a lot within a few days, and it never got old. It was always fun. It's going to be something that will make the list on other games that I play.
Like
it's just something that I can hear and hear and hear, and it's just fun.
Yeah, good background music, good fun dance music, get your groove on. Yeah, and talk about some of the key tracks. I mean, we could do the record breakers thing, talk about the lead single Movements from the album Movements, which kind of hits you with kind of the drum machine sound, and then the kind of builds the melody just on like the keyboard and stuff, and it's catchy in and of itself, and it's worthy of kind of being a key single. And it's such a cool song. Songs like the following song, Can't Wait, which kind of goes into this like almost rally music, not rally, well, yeah, rallying music, kind of like swell with the guitar. It's like, whoa, 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 which is really cool and kind of gets you into kind of a motivated mood. And even songs like a Sailor Song, which is a cool song, and songs like Rise and Fall. It just has some really cool vocals and has a kind of really cool like feel to them. And I'll ask you guys, Patrick, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
I'll touch on Can't Wait that you mentioned before. It's got good synths. It's a strong song. It has the right kind of sound. And another one I really, really liked, and maybe for all the wrong reasons, My War, because it sounds exactly like the movie, like the intro, like in a movie trailer for some indie movie starring some like early 20s slightly nerdy guy and some manic pixie dream girl lead. It is that song from that genre of film, but it's actually really good, and they're kind of the high energy tempo songs I think suit them a little better. I think that's the stuff of theirs that I really like. And then the last song on the album, Tonight, I really liked. I would want a whole album of like the harder up tempo-ier dancey things. Like that would be like the ideal Solutions album for me.
Mm-hmm. Brett, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Well, we don't have any heavy metal saxophone, but what we do have in the song Can't Wait is a modern drum machine with dance beats. It's got synths. It's got, as Petey said earlier, some vocal ooze of the type. And most importantly, it's got a simple hook. It's got a hook. It's formulaic. It is like 101 how to make an earwormy song that people can listen to a million times and not get sick of. If you can make a song like this by following the formula, who am I to judge you? You're manipulating people's brains in a way that all pop hits do. That is definitely more toe tappy than what the Deej brought us last week. It follows a groove. It follows a beat that everyone can follow, even if they can't follow a beat. And it's just very memorable. And then it's followed up. I'll just hit two songs, because this album, you can really get into every single one of them as their own little critter, but I don't wanna. Aside from the cowbells and the guitar, this had like an amazing bass groove. Is it Chromeo? No, but it's a solid track. Like I enjoyed it on its own. I heard some bass and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Are we going to like, where are we going here? And I was like, oh, well, I can't expect everything to be Chromeo, but that's not the measuring stick that we use for bass guitars in modern music. So
it isn't.
Well, not this time. No, that measuring stick is in the closet. When the time comes, I'll pull it back out. But no, I really thought that those were two really solid songs that went from one bingo bango, dingo dango, like one after the other. Mm-hmm. And I am much better for listening to this album. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna preempt everything from the future. I had a lot of fun with two songs. And there are so many more songs in this album that were also fun. But I think that Mr. The Swagger will tell us about some others.
Well, we got
Drew,
because Swagger already had his turn. He doesn't get extra turns. No extra turns. Drew, what would be some of the key tracks that caught your attention?
Well, Movements as an intro was great. It was dance happy. It was groovy. Swagger might know what I'm saying when I say the vocals gave me a little bit of a JK vibe on this one, which is not a bad thing at all, in my opinion.
That's I was trying to figure out the whole time I listened to this album what they reminded me of. I think that is a fair comparison.
Yeah, the vocals were very JK to me a lot through this, but it very much hit me in certain parts of movements. If you don't know Jamiroquai, get on the boat. My War feels like something that's almost like written specifically for the festival circuit. It has a big splashy opening. It gets right into something people can sing along with and sort of pump their fists and bounce around to with the vocals. It just feels just like they wrote it like, hey, let's get something that if we're playing a giant festival somewhere, everybody in the crowd can get hyped to. And then we go to Tonight. Tonight was the last song on the album. And like Swagger said, I think they're best when they're sort of in that peppy, dancey mood. Heavy Nights, that style of sort of lower song was not my deal. Tonight hit just right. It's the last song on this type of album. You want something that people are going to dance away from and they're going to go, you know what? I want to come back to this because it made me feel happy.
Yes.
There was the bass right underneath the verses was simple and it sort of tied all of it together. But then in bridging into the chorus, every time there was really cool licks that they used the bass for that I thought was a lot of fun. And it let it play both of those. And it just ended the album in a really great way to me, which was make people want to dance and be happy.
Yes.
And that was, if you're going in for like that sort of poppy synthy sound, that's what you want to do. And by golly, they did it.
Yeah. They done did it. They done done it. Gosh darn.
Raised by a hillbilly. Get off my nuts.
Let's go back around the horn and talk about kind of your conclusive thoughts. Patrick, what would be your thoughts overall on this album?
It's tight, poppy, fun music. I think Brett calling it fun and enjoyable is definitely what it is. But it's got a nice dose of like that sort of indie rock influence. They appear to be pretty solid musicians. They make fun songs, and I can't hate on fun music anymore. I did in my younger years, but now I sort of kind of enjoy it. If they could, in the next 12 months before this style of music possibly dies as being really popular, get a like English vocal coach to just help their pronunciation a sketch. Throw maybe these guys on like in America, and
maybe their grammar also a little bit.
That's just like if they had an American music machine, the way bands used to get made behind them, I think they could be really big here because they have a really fun, enjoyable sound that isn't it doesn't sound foreign, and it wouldn't offend the taste of the rather narrow-minded American public. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It wasn't Love X Stereo, and it doesn't live up to that hype, but it's good on its own in its own right.
Mm-hmm. Brett, what would be your conclusive thoughts about the album?
Listen to it.
Yes.
There's a microphone in my hand, not the one I'm talking. Drop. There we go. Animated.
Yeah. Yes. It's a fantastic record. Drew, what would be your thoughts overall on the album?
I'm going to point out to Brett that you weren't wrong about your assessment of not having a lot. But my final thoughts, it was fun. Like, that's the thing, is like, if the Deej, as he has been so coined, brought us sort of dense, thinky album that he brought us last week, as far as the music of it goes, with Tesseract, this is very much not that. This is very much like, we're gonna make earworms. We're gonna make fun songs. We're gonna make catchy songs. We're gonna make you smile at the end of the day. And like Swagger said, I think we all go through that point, a lot of us at least, where we're too cool for that sort of thing. We're too cool for pop music. We're too cool for hooks and earworms and that sort of thing. And then we grow up and we realize, hey, every once in a while, you just want to put on something simple that'll make you smile. Something with maybe a little bit of synth, and just some good stuff. Swagger's not wrong in saying maybe a little bit of English coaching would help, but damn it, if they're not like, that's not taking away from his English. It's like right on that edge. And sometimes when you're on that edge, you just need the next thing to push you over as far as language goes. And you're right there.
The paint works really good. It just needs a good polish.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Perfect.
I think that's a good description of it in my mind.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think I definitely like that you guys had fun with this. This is a really fun record by a really fun group. The music just goes into a lot of cool places that just get you moving, get you grooving, get you feeling good. And you could just stand in your room, blast this on your whatever random speaker you have sitting around in your room, whether it be, certain brands that are palindromes or not.
Diamond Rio?
Yes. And just dance around your room in your underwear and just have fun, or you can have pajamas on, whatever. No dress code involved. Just have fun. Just bring your dancing shoes. That's the only
Hands
dress
off,
code.
dance off.
Or don't even bring shoes.
Have a PJ Jammy Jam.
Exactly. Just go listen to this record. It's so fun. It's there on Spotify. And go, just do it. Just do it. I'm telling you, just do it. All right?
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Exactly. All right. All right. Before the show goes completely off the rails, let's bring it into our main event of the evening, our haiku reviews. Let's go around the horn. Let's go talk. Patrick, what is your haiku?
More from Korea. Quality use of a synth. Many good moments.
Mm-hmm. Brett, if you can compose
has
yourself.
come to life, man. Okay, never mind. Fancy Asian guys with some stunning drum beats. Look at them haircuts.
Yes. Drew, what is your haiku?
Poppy catchy fun from the far land Petey loves. It's English though. It's the second time I get to yell at the end of my haiku, and I'm very happy about it.
Yes. I'll go last. K indie stalwarts with a fun indie pop sound, reppin' Hongdae well. Reppin' Hongdae well. Yeah. The Solutions. You can listen to this album on our Spotify playlist, Play Record Breakers Home Game. Listen along. It'll be updated after every episode. On that Spotify playlist will be next week's album, provided by none other than Patrick Jeffrey Swaggers. PJS. What do you?
I love you, Peach.
Oh, okay. So we did a fun album. So I'm gonna pick an album that is not just pure sugary fun. A little bit from the heyday of emo. Texas is the Reason, and their album "Do You Know Who You Are."
Mm-hmm. Texas is the Reason. Do you know who you are? Because I know who I am. Kind of. We all know who we are. We're the Record Breakers. Yes. Of course, that will be next week. You can find us all over the internet. Patrick is at Swagger. Brett is at HIBBARD, HIBBI2IBIBBARD. Drew is at Exclusive for X. I'm at Petey Rave. The show is at 4 Record Breakers. 4 Record Breakers. Number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com. RecordBreakersPodcast@gmail.com. Rebelli TV on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube page. iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Catcher, Podcaster, Pocket Casts, other things. I don't know. All over the place. Just subscribe, damn it. Because I don't always remember to announce when the episodes are out. But if you subscribe, you just get it. your downloads. So you don't have to wait for me to remember that I have to put things on Twitter and stuff. You just know. But that's it for another fantastic episode of Record Breakers. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
Toodaloo.